This video is about Zeus rises on Mount Olympus, battles a titan but his thunder falters. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. On the sun-kissed peak of Mount Olympus, where clouds entwined like the threads of fate, Zeus, the king of gods, stood tall, his presence a tempest of power. His raven hair wept in the wind, and his piercing blue eyes surveyed the realm below, a tapestry of mortal lives and divine intrigue. The air crackled with energy, a portent of the storm brewing within his heart. In the skies above, the golden chariot of Helios dipped low, casting a dimming light upon the world, stirring shadows across the land. Whispers of ancient prophecies danced on the breeze, hinting at a time when the balance of power would teeter dangerously. The Titans, ancient and vengeful, stirred from their long-forgotten slumber, plotting revenge against the Olympians who had cast them into the abyss. "Father, the Titans rise once more," cried Athena, her voice like the clash of steel, vibrant with urgency. She appeared before Zeus, clad in armor forged from the very essence of the stars, her shield gleaming with wisdom. "We must prepare for battle." Zeus turned to his daughter, the flickers of lightning igniting in his clenched fist. "They shall not reclaim their throne, Athena. We will strike first." The resolve in his voice resonated with the thunder that echoed through the heavens, calling forth the storm of wrath. Dionysus, the god of revelry, arrived next, his demeanor relaxed yet intense. "Will we not enjoy this battle, dear father? Let us celebrate the chaos and destruction that follows." His laughter was a stark contrast to the seriousness of the impending conflict. "Do not confuse revelry with folly," Dionysus here interjected, her voice carrying the weight of a queen. She stepped forward, her regal presence illuminating the darkening sky. "The Titans will not be defeated by mere festivity. We require strategy and unity." As the gods congregated, a figure cloaked in shadows emerged from the depths of Olympus. It was Prometheus, the Titan who had once ignited the flame of knowledge and humanity as heart. His gaze was heavy with foreboding as he addressed the assembly. "Beware, Zeus, power unchecked breeds disaster. The Titans are not mere foes, they are the embodiment of chaos. Enough of your warnings." Zeus roared, his voice echoing through the valleys like the rumble of thunder. "You speak of chaos, yet it is we who are destined to protect this world. The Titans have tasted defeat. They shall feel our might once more." Prometheus' face hardened, shadows flickering across his features. "Foolish pride can be our undoing, king of gods. There are whispers of a force among the Titans, a power that can extinguish your thunder." A storm brewed in the hearts of the gods, uncertainty mingling with their courage. With a resolute nod, Zeus raised his scepter, the golden lightning rod crackling with energy. "We will not cower before fear. We will march upon the Titans and reclaim our dominion. To battle." The gods rallied around him, a vibrant whirlwind of power and purpose. They donned their armor, a kaleidoscope of divine radiance, each a beacon of glory destined to shine amidst the darkness. A collective heartbeat echoed through Olympus as they prepared for the confrontation that would forever alter their destinies. Asterisk, meanwhile, on the desolate plains of Tartarus, the Titans stirred. Asterisk. Cronus, the once mighty leader of the Titans, emerged from the shadows, his visage darkened by years of imprisonment. "My children, the time has come. The Olympians think themselves invincible, but they have forgotten the wrath of the Titans." His voice reverberated like the breaking of mountains. At his side stood Atlas, the Titan burdened with the weight of the sky, and Re, the nurturing mother who had once defied Cronus. "What is our plan, father?" Atlas asked, his voice a deep rumble, echoing the strength within his sinewy arms. "We shall unleash the monstrous children we birthed in the depths of the earth," Cronus proclaimed, a sinister smile spreading across his face. "They will sow fear and confusion among the gods, for we shall rise with the ferocity of a tempest." As the Titans gathered, their eyes glinted with a fierce determination, the ground trembled beneath their feet. The chains of their imprisonment shattered like glass, releasing the fury contained within. The world above remained blissfully unaware of the impending storm, a reckoning that would redefine the very essence of gods and Titans alike. Asterisk, back on Mount Olympus, the gods prepared for the journey ahead. Asterisk. With a swift motion of his hand, Zeus summoned the winds to carry them toward the battlefield. Each god mounted their ethereal steeds, radiant creatures of celestial light that soared into the heavens. The air was thick with anticipation, electric with the promise of conflict. As they traversed the skies, Athena rode beside her father, her heart a tempest of emotions. "What if your thunder falters, father?" she asked, her voice barely rising above the winds. "What if the Titans have grown stronger in our absence?" Zeus cast her a sidelong glance, the weight of his legacy upon him. "Then we shall find strength in our unity. You, my daughter, are the embodiment of wisdom. remember, it is the heart of a warrior that determines victory. Descending from the clouds, the gods beheld a bleak landscape, once vibrant, now marred by the encroaching darkness of the Titans. Lightning struck the ground, illuminating the battlefield, the desolate plain where destiny awaited. Suddenly the sky darkened further, an unnatural shadow falling over them. From the depths of Tartarus emerged the monstrous children of the Titans, giants of unfathomable size, their bodies twisted and grotesque. Their roar shook the heavens, a cacophony of chaos that resonated within the hearts of gods and men alike. "Prepare yourselves, sir," Zeus shouted, raising his scepter high as arcs of lightning sparked around him. With a mighty roar, he unleashed a storm of thunderbolts upon the advancing horde, each bolt a testament to his fury. Yet a sudden tremor coursed through him, a surge of unease that rattled his very being. The Titans had indeed grown stronger, their dark magic intertwining with the essence of the earth. His thunder faltered, a spark of doubt igniting fear within his heart, a shadow of uncertainty that threatened to consume him. The first of the monstrous giants charged, a behemoth with eyes like fire and skin like stone. Athena leaped from her steed, her sword gleaming with divine resolve. "We fight together, Father," she cried, charging into the fray alongside her brothers and sisters. A fierce battle erupted, a symphony of chaos as gods clashed with monsters. The ground trembled beneath their might, the sky lit with flashes of lightning and the terrible roars of the Titans. Zeus fought valiantly, summoning storm after storm, but the darkness pressed against him, an insidious force that sought to drain his power. "Focus," Zeus shouted Poseidon, his trident piercing the heart of a charging giant. "We must rally. We cannot give in to despair. Together." Hera echoed, her voice rising above the din, a rallying cry that resonated through the hearts of the gods. "Let us show them the strength of Olympus." Yet, as they fought, the tension mounted. The Titans were relentless, their monstrous forms a swarm of fury. Zeus felt his strength wane, each bolt of lightning becoming harder to summon, each breath more labored. The whispers of Prometheus echoed in his mind. Had he underestimated the darkness they faced? In the midst of chaos, Athena locked eyes with her father, sensing the faltering of his spirit. "Father, remember who you are. You are Zeus, king of the gods. You cannot let fear bind you." With a grunt of exertion, Zeus raised his scepter, drawing the last remnants of his power. "I am Zeus," he roared, defiance igniting a flicker of hope within him. "I shall not be vanquished." As the clash of Titans and gods raged on, the fate of Olympus hung precariously in the balance. Thunder rumbled ominously, the storm still brewing, but within that tumultuous heart was a flicker of resilience, a will to fight against the encroaching darkness. But the question lingered as the battle raged. Could Zeus reclaim his thunder before the shadows consumed them all? Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk. As the rolling shadows deepened on the battlefield, Zeus steadied himself against the chaos, a tempestuous storm brewing within him. The very ground trembled at the feet of the monstrous giants, the grotesque forms looming like nightmares made flesh. Every muscle in his body ached as he channeled every ounce of divine fury into his scepter, the crackling energy reflecting the tumult in his heart. "Back to the abyss," he bellowed, unleashing a torrent of lightning that arced through the sky. It struck the foremost giant, a behemoth with a jagged maw and eyes that burned like molten coals. The creature howled in agony, but the others pressed on, relentless as the tide. "Father, to your left!" Athena shouted, her voice cutting through the din like a blade. She swung her sword, a brilliant flash of light that severed the arm of a charging Titan, causing it to stagger backward with a roar of pain. But the victory was fleeting, and another giant surged forth, its eyes glistening with malice. "Stay close, Athena," Zeus commanded, heart racing as he unleashed another bolt, but his thunder faltered again, a diminishing echo of its former power. The oppressive darkness that surrounded them seemed to sap his strength, each pulse of energy feeling like a thread unraveling from the tapestry of his being. Across the tumultuous battlefield, Poseidon, his brother, wielded his trident with unmatched fury, summoning waves that crash upon the giants. "It is but a moment as darkness, brother," he cried, his voice rising above the chaos, bolstered by the crashing tides. "We will prevail." Yet even as Zeus fought valiantly by his brother's side, the doubt grew like an insidious vine, wrapping tighter around his resolve. He could feel it, something ancient and powerful within the Titans had shifted, feeding off his faltering spirit. Prometheus' warnings echoed in his mind like a haunting melody, a reminder of vulnerability that both terrified and enraged him. "Do not waver, O King of Olympus!" Hera's voice rang out, fierce and unwavering. She stood amidst the fray, her beauty undiminished by the chaos, her divine essence radiating like the sun. With a wave of her hand, she compelled the winds to swell around her, forming a protective barrier around the gods. Together we are unstoppable, remember our strength. Zeus met her gaze, seeking the warmth of her unwavering love. But what if he started? The words caught in his throat, the fear of failure threatening to consume him whole. Silence, Hera commanded, her eyes fierce. You are Zeus, the god of thunder. You are not defined by a moment of doubt. Stand with us. With a fierce rallying cry of his queen, a flicker of determination ignited within him. He turned back to the battlefield, where chaos reigned supreme. The ground was littered with debris, the cries of fallen gods and giants mingling in a symphony of war. He could feel the weight of destiny pressing upon him, the fates conspiring, whispering to him through the tumult. Suddenly, a massive figure emerged from the throng of titans, a giant clad in obsidian armor, its eyes glinting with malice. It was Gorgon, the fiercest of the Titan brood, a warlord born of despair. Zeus, it roared, its voice deep and resonant, echoing like a death knell through the shrouded air. A mere flicker of lightning is not enough to protect you. Zeus's heart raced. Gorgon was no ordinary foe. You shall be the first to taste my wrath, he declared, raising his scepter, summoning every ounce of strength within him. As he called forth the storm, the skies darkened more, swelling with tempestuous energy. I will not bow to you or your shadows. With a furious thrust, he unleashed a bolt of lightning toward Gorgon, but the Titan merely laughed, raising a massive black shield that absorbed the energy like a sponge. Your thunder is weak. Zeus, I am the embodiment of chaos, and you shall fall before me. Crushing despair threatened to engulf him, but Athena surged forward, her sword ablaze with divine light. Not while I breathe, she shouted, her voice ringing with unyielding resolve. She dashed toward Gorgon, her blade striking with precision. For Olympus! The clash resonated like thunder, a flash of divine fury illuminating the battlefield. Gorgon staggered back, momentarily caught off guard by Athena's ferocity. Zeus seized the moment, channeling the remnants of his power. Now, my children, together, he calls, summoning Poseidon and Hera to his side. The three gods combined their forces, a tempest of elements converging in a cataclysmic display of power. Waves of water surged and clashed against the winds while lightning split the heavens above them. Gorgon, caught in the maelstrom, felt the relentless assault of the gods. Doomed, he roared, staggering under the onslaught. But as Zeus prepared to strike the final blow, a sudden tremor beneath them shook the very foundations of the battlefield. A dark vortex surged, a whirlwind of raw chaos erupting where Gorgon once stood. Retreat, to me! Athena shouted, her instincts honed by years of battle. The moment was chaotic, a strange energy filling the air, and the battlefield shifted as if it were alive. Titans fell and rose, but the winds carried screams of anguish. As they regrouped, Zeus scanned the horizon, eyes widening with dread. Emerging from the shadows, a figure cloaked in darkness took form, its presence unsettling the very elements. It was Nyx, the primordial goddess of night, who had allied with the Titans. Foolish gods, she hissed, her voice like the rustling of leaves. You cannot fight the shadows, you will learn the true meaning of despair. With a wave of her hand, the ground erupted, and monstrous serpents slithered into the fray, their eyes glowing with malice. Press on, Zeus commanded, gathering what strength he had left. The weight of Olympus bore down on him, but he could not falter. Let the light of Olympus pierce this darkness. With renewed determination, the gods charged, a fierce rallying cry echoing through the chaos. Athena led the charge against Nyx's serpents, her sword a beacon of hope, while Poseidon unleashed waves of fury against the encroaching shadows. Here summoned the winds, each gusted testament to their unity. But Nyx was relentless, her laughter echoing ominously through the battlefield. You will never see the dawn again, she taunted, conjuring an army of shadows to engulf the gods. In the midst of chaos, Zeus felt the final thread of his thunder slip through his grasp. Panic clawed at his heart. Could he truly protect his realm, his family, or was he destined to fail like the gods before him? The darkness pressed in, suffocating, the whispers of Prometheus haunting him, a reminder of the fragility of power. Just then, a glimmer of hope shimmered through the storm. A golden light pierced the ominous blackness, a celestial entity descending from the heavens. It was Iris, the goddess of the rainbow, her presence a serene contrast to the chaos. Fear not, great Zeus, she called, her voice melodious and bright. For even in the darkest hour, light can be found. Draw on that light, and your thunder will roar once more. In that moment, a spark ignited within Zeus, a flicker of his true essence. He lifted his head, heart pounding with a newfound resolve. I will not be consumed, he bellowed, channeling the warmth of Iris' light. I am Zeus, master of storms and king of the gods. With a surge of energy, he raised his scepter high, the golden lightning coursing through his veins, igniting the skies. As the winds howled around him, he drew forth the power of Olympus, the spirits of fallen gods and heroes filling him with their strength. Let there be thunder! Zeus roared, unleashing a dazzling storm that illuminated the battlefield. The serpents recoiled, the titans faltered, and even Nyx found her laughter silenced amidst the brilliance of his might. The skies erupted in a wild dance of lightning, each bolt striking with divine fury. Zeus charged forward, a force of nature harnessed, and with each strike he reclaimed his thunder, dispelling the shadows that clung to his heart. Victory belongs to the brave, he declared, a whirlwind of power encircling him, while his children rallied around him, emboldened by their father's resurgence. Together! Athena echoed, her sword shining brightly as she cleaved through the serpents. With each swing, the tide of battle shifted, the shadows retreating before the light of Olympus. But as Zeus fought with fervor, he knew this conflict was far from over. The Titans had awakened, and their wrath would not be easily quelled. The tumult of battle raged on, hearts intertwined in the chaos, each moment a step closer to destiny. Yet, even in the face of triumph, a shadow lingered, a reminder that the test of the gods was far from complete. As the thunder rumbled through the skies, Zeus vowed to confront the darkness. As the storm unleashed its fury upon the battlefield, the once ominous clouds transformed into a tapestry of shimmering silver and electric blue. Zeus, fueled by the revitalizing light of Iris, surged forward with the full force of Olympus behind him. Every bolt that arced from his scepter illuminated the dark recesses of war, scattering the shadows that had threatened to swallow his realm. Together, he roared, his voice echoing through the cacophony of battle. The gods rallied around him, emboldened by the renewed vigor of the king. Athena led the charge, her sword a beacon of hope, striking down the serpents that Nyx had unleashed. Each swing of her blade cleaved through the darkness, a testament to her courage and unwavering spirit. Onward, she cried, a rallying cry that surged through the hearts of her companions. We fight not just for ourselves, but for all who look to Olympus for protection. The serpents writhed and hissed, their monstrous forms recoiling as the light of the gods pierced through their sinister shadows. As Hera summoned the winds to envelop them like a protective cloak, Poseidon plunged his trident deep into the earth, calling forth waves that crashed into Nyx's serpents, washing them away like pebbles upon the shore. He roared with laughter, defiance ringing in his voice. You think you can drown the light? But Nyx, unyielding, glided forward, her eyes blazing like twin stars of chaos. Your efforts are futile. Ocean god, the night is eternal, and you shall learn that the shadows are stronger than your light. With a flick of her wrist, she commanded the remaining serpents to encircle the gods, forming an ominous barrier between them and the horizon of hope. Fueled by their father's resurgence, the Olympians pressed on, striking at the serpents with newfound fervor. Zeus led the charge, his heart pounding with the rhythm of determination, echoing the battle cries of countless heroes who had come before him. We are the shield against the dark, he bellowed, calling forth another storm of lightning. A bolt split the sky, striking down in a brilliant flash that illuminated the battlefield like a star falling from the heavens. As the dust settled, Gorgon emerged from the remains of the chaos, the obsidian giant glowering with fury. Your light is but a candle against the storm of my existence, he thundered, shaking the very ground beneath them. I will crush you, Zeus, and your wretched family. Enough! Athena shouted defiantly, racing to intercept him. You will not desecrate Olympus with your chaos. Her sword shimmered as she launched herself at the Titan, striking with precision and determination. The clash between the goddess and the Titan sent shockwaves through the air, a collision of titanic wills that reverberated across the battlefield. Zeus watched as his daughter battled fiercely, his spirit unyielding even against the might of Gorgon. We cannot falter, he urged, raising his scepter once more, banishing the serpents around them. For every moment we resist, we reclaim our power. Together, we are unstoppable. But Gorgon, sensing the tide shifting, unleashed a roar that echoed like thunder itself. Foolish gods, you rely on one another, yet you are all bound by weakness. He raised a massive arm, sending rubble and debris flying toward the Olympians, a tempest that threatened to consume them. Form a circle, Athena shouted, her voice slicing through the chaos. The gods quickly regrouped, their divine powers coalescing into an impenetrable barrier against the onslaught. With every ounce of strength, they combined their magic, a whirlwind of light and elemental fury that swelled around them. Now, strike! Zeus commanded, and with a collective effort, they launched a counter-offensive. Lightning, waves, and winds converged, a tempest of divine energy that surged toward Gorgon. The Titan roared in fury, raising his shield to absorb their combined force, but it was too late. The storm struck with the fury of Olympus, a blinding light enveloping him, the very essence of creation crashing against the darkness. Gorgon staggered back, the raw power of the gods overwhelming even the mightiest of titans. "Feel the fury of Olympus," Zeus cried, bolstered by the collective strength of his family. "This is the true essence of power." With a surge of energy, he unleashed a bolt that cleaved through the darkness and shattered Gorgon's shield. The titan fell to his knees, his might crumbling under the weight of their unity. "No, this cannot be," he bellowed, his voice filled with despair. "Together, we shall forge our fate," Athena declared, her sword gleaming fiercely. "For every sacrifice, for every life we protect." And with that declaration, she struck, her blade piercing through Gorgon's heart, a brilliant flash illuminating the battlefield. As the titan fell, the ground trembled beneath them, the chaos of the battlefield shifting with each moment. However, the shadows stirred, refusing to fade. Nyx, her eyes filled with a malevolent fire, stepped forward, dark tendrils swirling around her like a cloak of despair. "You may have struck down Gorgon, but the night will never yield." With a wave of her hand, the shadows thickened, enveloping the battlefield in an impenetrable gloom. The gods felt the weight of darkness suffocating their spirits, their energies waning. "What is this darkness?" Poseidon shouted, struggling to maintain his footing. "We cannot let her win. We must stand firm." Hera shouted, her voice rising against the encroaching shadows. "Our light can pierce any darkness, but we must believe in it." Zeus felt the despair creeping in again, a gnawing uncertainty that threatened to consume him. "But what if we cannot break free?" he muttered, the shadows whispering doubts within him. "Father, look!" Athena shouted, pointing to the edge of the battlefield where a glimmer of light broke through the darkness. It was Iris, her shimmering wings alight with color, rallying the spirits of the fallen gods and heroes from beyond. "Remember," Iris called, her voice ringing through the air like a bell. "Even in the darkest night, the dawn will always come. You are not alone." With that, a beacon of light ignited the skies, pushing back against the encroaching shadows. The hearts of the gods surged anew, rekindled by the hope that blossomed like a flower in the night. "Join me," Zeus commanded, raising his scepter high, the light reflecting off its surface as he drew on the power of the fallen. "We are the legacy of Olympus. We shall not yield to despair." The gods gathered their strength, pouring their energies into a singular force, a radiant vortex of light that surged toward Nyx. "You dare challenge the dawn?" she hissed, her eyes wide with fury. "Together, we are the dawn!" Zeus bellowed, and with a mighty swing of his scepter, they unleashed a torrent of divine light that shattered the shadows like glass shattering beneath a hammer. The darkness erupted, flying away from the onslaught, and Nyx, consumed by the brilliance, screamed as the light engulfed her. "No, this cannot be," she cried, her form dissolving into the ether. The battlefield brightened as the shadows receded, revealing the aftermath of their fierce struggle. The titans lay defeated, the cries of chaos replaced by the sounds of victory. The gods stood together, a united front against the remnants of darkness, their hearts filled with hope and triumph. Zeus, breathing heavily, looked upon his family, their spirits entwined in the aftermath of battle. "We have faced the abyss and emerged brighter than ever," he proclaimed, his voice reverberating with finality. "Let this day be a reminder that light will always find a way to conquer darkness." As the clouds dissipated and the sun broke through, illuminating the battlefield, the gods shared a moment of silence, a solemn remembrance for those who had fought alongside them. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, a testament to their unity and strength. But in the corner of Zeus's mind, a whisper lingered. The titans may have been vanquished, but their shadows would always loom. The test of the gods was far from over, and new challenges awaited on the horizon. "In unity, we shall forge our path," he vowed, resolute in his determination. "For we are the Olympians, and our legacy shall endure for ages untold." And with that, they turned toward Olympus, a beacon of light in a world that would forever remember the day when gods stood together against the darkness, forever echoing through time as a tale of courage, resilience, and the indomitable spirit of Olympus. Asterisk to be continued asterisk. As the sun dipped bravely behind the horizon, casting a golden hue over the remnants of the battlefield, Zeus stood resolute. The air around him crackled with the aftershocks of divine power that had coursed through the gods only moments before. Though the Titans had been vanquished, the specter of their chaos loomed large in the minds of every Olympian. "Father," Athena began, her voice steady but edged with concern, "what if they return? What if the abyss opens again?" Her armor still gleamed with the remnants of the battle-less light, yet shadows danced in her eyes, memories of the horrors they had faced still fresh. Zeus turned to his daughter, his heart heavy with the burdens of leadership. We will prepare, my child, he replied, his voice a mix of strength and vulnerability. But know this, the darkness may rise again, yet our bond shall light the way. Together, we are unbreakable. With a solemn nod, Athena unsheathed her sword, the blade shimmering with new resolve. Then let us fortify Olympus. Let us prepare not just for war, but for vigilance. Her fierce spirit ignited a flame of determination in the hearts of the gods as they began to gather their strength. In the heart of Olympus, the gods worked tirelessly. They summoned clouds of luminescent magic, forging barriers of light to guard against the encroaching dark. Poseidon, summoning the seas, created a tidal wall around the mountain, while Hera called forth the winds to carry messages across the realms. The very atmosphere resonated with divine energy, a living testament to their unity. As the gods labored under the twilight sky, whispers of concern rustled through the air. Dionysus, ever the carefree spirit, raised his goblet high. Let us not forget the beauty of revelry, my kin, for what is a victory without a celebration? He winked, trying to ease the tension that hung like a storm cloud over them. But Zeus, though grateful for the lightheartedness, felt the weight of responsibility pressed down upon him. Revelry can wait, brother. We must not grow complacent. The Titans' defeat is but a chapter in our tale. The wind whipped around him, a physical manifestation of his resolve. Meanwhile, in the shadowy depths of Tartarus, remnants of the Titans stirred. Cronus, though weakened, had not been defeated in spirit. His eyes, once filled with rage, now glimmered with a cunning intensity that belied his frail form. We underestimated them, he snarled, his voice echoing through the abyss. But the dark is ever a fertile ground for revenge. They will pay for their insolence. Beside him, Rhea, who had once shared in his dark ambitions, narrowed her eyes. And what of Nyx? We cannot rely solely on her. We need a new plan. Her voice was a low hiss, weaving through the shadows like a serpent seeking its prey. We shall gather our strength, Cronus declared, a cruel smile twisting his lips. The gods think they have triumphed, but they have merely delayed the inevitable. We will awaken the darker forces, the primordial chaos that even Olympus fears. With a snap of his fingers, he summoned the remnants of their ancient power, darkness welling to life beneath his command. It is time to remind the Olympians of their place beneath the Titans. We shall rise again, and this time, they will fall. Back on Olympus, preparations grew more intense. Athena paced the halls, her mind racing with strategies. Father, we must seek allies among the realms. Perhaps the mortals can aid us. She turned to Zeus, urgency feeding her determination. Mortals, he questioned, brow furrowed. They are but ants when faced with the might of gods. Can we truly trust them? We have given them our gifts, our knowledge, Athena replied, eyes fierce with conviction. In their hearts lies the courage we seek. The stories of our battles are woven into their souls. We must inspire them to rise. Before Zeus could respond, a sudden chill swept through the air, thick with portent. The gods turned to see Iris, the goddess of the rainbow, standing at the gates of Olympus, her wings shimmering with urgency. Zeus, the winds carry whispers of unrest, the Titans grow stronger, and shadows gather even now. The balance is shifting. She gasped, breathless from her hasty flight. Iris, what do you mean? Zeus asked, a sense of foreboding creeping into his heart. What is happening? The mortals speak of strange omens, creatures of old are waking, prowling the edges of their realms, she replied, her voice trembling. Something stirs in the deep, something ancient and vile. The gods exchanged concerned glances, the reality of their situation weighing heavily upon them. Then we must act. Poseidon proclaimed, slamming his fist into his palm. We cannot allow the darkness to spread beyond Tartarus. Zeus nodded, a fire igniting within him again. Then we shall descend into the mortal realms to rally their strength. If the Titans seek to awaken chaos, we will meet them head-on. We will not stand idly while shadows creep into the light. As they prepared to descend, a dark wind swept across Olympus, chilling their bones. The atmosphere thickened, shadows swirling around them like living tendrils. They come, Athena shouted, drawing her sword, its edge glinting defiantly in the encroaching gloom. Suddenly, from the depths of Tartarus surged forth an army of grotesque creatures, monsters born from the very chaos Cronus had conjured. The air filled with the guttural growls of beasts, grotesque forms emerging from the shadows. Bogan, no longer defeated, led the charge, his obsidian armor gleaming with renewed power. The gods will fall, he bellowed, rallying the monstrous horde behind him. Zeus raised his scepter, lightning crackling ominously in response. Stand strong, we fight for Olympus. With a deafening roar, he unleashed a storm that sent bolts of lightning skating toward the oncoming titans. But the creatures advanced undeterred. They were a horde of nightmares beasts with twisted limbs, eyes like burning coals, and hunger for chaos. The gods fought valiantly, but the sheer numbers overwhelmed them. "Focus on the leaders," Athena shouted, her sword striking through the chaos. "If we can vanquish Gorgon, the rest will falter." Zeus nodded, determination igniting his spirit once more. "Then we will carve a path through this darkness." He surged forward, a whirlwind of power, striking out with the fury of storms. The battlefield erupted into chaos as gods and monsters clashed, a symphony of violence resonating across the plains. Athena fought fiercely alongside her siblings, their blades weaving through the dark, each striker testament to their resolve. "Push forward," Hera cried, her voice a clarion call against the darkness. "We are the light." As Zeus fought, he felt a familiar weight press against him, a reminder of the shadows he had faced before. A flicker of doubt threatened to return, but he pushed it aside, channeling the strength of every fallen hero and the unwavering bond of his family. In the heart of the chaos, Zeus locked eyes with Gorgon, who was battling fiercely against Athena and Poseidon. "This ends now," Zeus roared, summoning the storm within him, lightning tearing through the sky in response. Gorgon laughed, a deep, resonant sound that echoed through the chaos. "You think your part can defeat me? I am the embodiment of chaos itself. Then let chaos meet its end." Zeus thundered, launching himself into the fray, a bolt of divine fury aimed at Gorgon. The Titan raised his shield, but Zeus's power surged through, shattering the barrier like glass. In that moment, the battlefield quieted, the air thick with tension. Gorgon's eyes widened in shock as the divine energy overwhelmed him. "No!" he cried, but it was too late. Zeus's bolt struck true and the Titan fell, the darkness around them beginning to dissipate. Yet, as Gorgon fell, a shadow loomed behind Zeus. Nyx emerged, her form twisting like smoke, her voice a chilling whisper. "You may have defeated my beasts, but darkness is eternal, king of the gods. You will never escape it." With a flick of her wrist, she summoned a dark storm, tendrils of shadow reaching for Zeus, wrapping around him like chains. A sense of dread crept into his heart, and for a moment he faltered, the darkness threatening to engulf him. "Father!" Athena shouted, sensing his struggle. "You are not alone, remember our light." Gathering his resolve, Zeus called forth the strength of Olympus, drawing on the bonds that held them together. "I am not afraid of the darkness," he roared, his voice echoing against Nyx's whispers. "Together, we are the dawn." With that declaration, the gods rallied around him, their energies intertwining, creating a radiant shield of light that pierced the shadows. The dark tendrils recoiled, and with one final surge, Zeus pushed forward, shattering Nyx's hold over him. In that moment, the darkness unraveled, and the dawn broke through the shadows.